Followers of the legendary Johnny Genesis North, we are releasing a must-have collection of Johnny North merchandise in our store at merch.ringsidereport.net, starting with our limited edition Johnny Genesis North 3/4 sleeve t-shirt. With a unique design capturing Johnny in action, this tee exudes raw energy and intensity through its versatile 3/4 sleeves for any weather. Stand with our legendary co-host, Johnny North. Make a bold statement in the wrestling community by getting yours today, exclusively at merch.ringsidereport.net.
The discipline of jiu-jitsu, the elegance of a perfect pour. Introducing the jiu-jitsu-inspired shaker pint glass. Crafted for the martial artist in you. 16 ounces of pure elegance, perfect for post-training refreshment or a sophisticated cocktail evening. Durable, stylish, versatile. Not just a glass, but a testament to your dedication. Celebrate your passion with every sip. The Jiu-Jitsu Shaker Pint Glass. Cheers to mastery. Available now in our store. Go to merch.ringsidereport.net and get yours now.
Strength in every sip.
Here's a programming note from the Ringside Report Network. Every Friday, join Dave Simon along with pro wrestler Johnny Genesis North as they break down the week that was pro wrestling on Wrestling Uncensored. Join them live starting after WWE SmackDown and during AEW Rampage at 10 p.m. Eastern, right here, or as an audio podcast wherever you get your podcasts. Be sure to share this broadcast and review our podcasts on Apple Podcasts. It really helps us out. Why not become a member of the Ringside Report universe? Go right now before the show starts to membership.ringsidereport.net. That's membership.ringsidereport.net.
Each and every Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, dive deep into the heart of MMA with Ringside Report MMA. Join seasoned analysts Dave Simon, Fred Garcia, and my good friend AJ D'Alexio as they dissect every fight, analyze strategies, and reveal their top betting predictions. From main events to prelims, our trio deep dives into the strengths, weaknesses, and potential game changers for each fighter. Looking to place a bet? Benefit from the expertise of our analysts and get an edge over the competition. Discover lesser-known facts, training camp secrets, and behind-the-scenes tidbits that only our seasoned crew can deliver. Share your fight predictions and be featured in the broadcast. For both new fans and longtime MMA aficionados, Ringside Report MMA is the key to unlocking a richer UFC viewing experience. Become an MMA insider. Don't miss out on our exclusive content. Subscribe now and ensure you ring that bell for timely notifications.
Before we dive into today's action-packed broadcast, check out ringsidereport.net. Explore a wide range of exclusive articles and commentary that are specifically designed for the fans of pro wrestling and MMA. Did you miss a broadcast? No worries. We've expanded them all on our website. And don't forget to hit our store for exclusive merch and other must-have items, ringsidereport.net. Where the real action is.
We've got boosted odds coming. Dave's picks, which means I'm going to give you picks, and on the site, it'll say, like, minus 200 or something, but then I'll call my buddies at Bet99. I'll be like, hey, could we give it a little better? And it'll be like minus 150, so there'll be more value.
What?
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We're going to add value to the picks. We're going to get boosted odds at Bet99 for the Ringside Report universe. For all the viewers, we're going to give you picks, and then we're going to be like, there's a number here on this at Bet99, but maybe wait till Saturday morning, and there'll be a better number because we're going to give you those boosted odds. They're a sponsor, and I want them to do well, and they're helping the show and all of that, but at the same time, I want to give good picks and take them for everything they got, baby. But they got
Well, that's what it comes down to.
You know what I mean?
Listen,
it's a weird relationship because I'm friendly with them and I want to do well and I want them to do well, but I also want us to do well, and for us to do well, we need to take money from them, which is part of the whole. It's part of the game, and they like it, and it's all fun. So we're gonna get some boosted odds, and we'll see how much we can boost them for the viewers, so we can make a lot of cash. Yeah, we're previewing UFC Vegas 83, Yadong versus Gutierrez. Rumors flying for UFC 300, and it's Hanukkah. Happy Hanukkah! Let's go! Yes, indeed. Night one of Hanukkah. AJ's ready. AJ's in the
What's up,
spirit.
dude?
Let's go!
Sort of. But happy long dong, man, and happy Hanukkah, man.
Yes, we do have happy long dongs, happy Hanukkah. We're having a good time, living the life.
I'm telling you, man.
It is Hanukkah season, AJ. It is the holiday season.
That's
it's
right,
Hanukkah.
Man.
Hanukkah night one is tonight.
You got to play Sandler's song, man.
Nah, we're good.
Come on.
Again, copyright. AJ, you still don't understand copyright law, but that's okay.
Sing it.
Oh, God.
Sing it, man.
No.
There's got to be some way that we can show something.
Or at least crazy nights. I mean, that's all I know. You know.
Happy Hanukkah.
The nights are crazy. The nights are good. I've got the menorah going. I've got my menorah going right now.
Listen, if you got any matzah, man, listen. Think
matzah is not Hanukkah. That's Passover.
Oh, matzah. I don't care, man. Matzah ball soup. They still have it at Hanukkah time.
I don't think so.
Well, if you come across it, bring me some, because that's amazing. Nothing like matzah ball soup.
Look at that. That's my menorah.
Wow, look how fancy it is.
Look at that beautiful menorah rocking right now.
Wow, is that an easy menorah?
Easy?
Yeah, Yeezy. The Yeezy style.
Oh, Yeezy. Kanye West design? No, but it's nice. It's a nice menorah.
What is that? Is that There's little
There's
birds?
Like birds and flowers
little
and stuff.
Squirrels?
Yeah, it's mostly birds and flowers.
It's a cool squirrel there.
It's a cool design. It's a nice menorah.
Nice.
My son picked it out a couple years ago. Happy
On
Hanukkah.
The first day of Christmas. I mean Hanukkah.
Yeah, AJ doesn't know any Hanukkah songs. How about Dreidel, Dreidel,
I
Dreidel?
Do, man. Well, I know Dreidel,
I made
Dreidel,
you
Dreidel.
Out of play. You know that one. Everybody knows that one.
Dreidel, Dreidel.
How about O Hanukkah, O Hanukkah, come light the menorah. Let's have a party, we'll all dance the hora. Gather around the table, we'll give you a treat. Sevivon to play with and latkes to eat. And while we are playing, the candles are burning low. One for each night, and we share the sweet light to remind us of days long ago. One for each night, and we share the sweet light to remind us of days long ago. That's for you, AJ. Hanukkah.
Bravo. That was impressive,
Hanukkah,
man.
baby. That's a Hanukkah song. Man. That's a good one.
Damn, that was nice, man.
Oh, Hanukkah. Oh, Hanukkah. Come on. Come on. And
I hope you don't get a protest because of your song now.
No. It's all love. We're all having a good time. All my friends on all the religions and everything. We're all cool. We all have a good time. We all eat hummus. We all have good times, you know? Just reunite over hummus. You know, I don't know why people can't get along. You all eat the same thing. You know? I'm telling you.
I like the hummus.
I'm telling you. I've seen Palestinians and I've seen Israelis. They look the same, guys. You guys look the same. I don't know. And you sound the same when you speak English. So, I mean, it's basically, you guys need to chill, you know? That's how I feel. Everybody needs to chill. Everybody needs to have peace. I'm about peace. Peace in the Middle East, you know? Whatever happened to that? I guess hasn't really happened for a while.
What's up, Angelo?
Nevertheless, I like peace. I'm a peaceful man. We're just an MMA show. The only violence we like is sanctioned violence in an octagon where both sides are getting paid and have agreed to the terms and rules and, you know, rules of engagement. No war crimes in the octagon, baby. It's all fair in love and MMA.
Love and war, man. Just like
the
movie. It's all fair in love and war.
You know, we love MMA, and a lot of people say, oh, MMA, it's a violent sport. I say MMA is not a violent sport. The world is a violent place.
Bro,
MMA is a sport for gentlemen and gentlewomen to go in there and find out who they are and prove themselves as human beings.
Well, dude,
it is a wonderful sport.
A more violent sport is sometimes like, you know, being in a relationship. But other than that, hey-oh.
Whoa. I think hockey is pretty violent. I don't like hockey. The violent aspect of hockey, it seems scary to me because, like, you have your back turned and you're on skates and then there's another guy with a stick charging at you, nailing you, and you don't see it coming, and he hits you, and you break your neck into that wall there that they got. It's bad, hockey. Hockey's scary. I'm scared of the punches I don't see coming. You know, the ones I see coming are the ones that are in front of me are easy. It's those hits from behind where you don't see it coming, you know? That's what's frightening about hockey. It seems violent. Also, sometimes I see guys swing their sticks like right at the other guy's head, and I go, that's crazy. Hockey seems more violent to me than MMA because they got weapons, you know? Football is violent too, but it doesn't seem that violent to me. People are like, oh, football is more violent than MMA.
Well,
I've never seen anybody in football get kicked in the head. Knocked unconscious.
Yeah, I've seen that. I've seen like a couple of stomps and things like that. But in hockey, man, you've got a weapon in your hand. I'm talking like, you know, it's like the Kwon Do in Kung Fu, man. Like, you know, General Kwon with his Kwon Do. I mean, you could you can behead a person if you wanted to. And you know what? You're absolutely right, man. Hockey
I've seen that.
Can be violent. Have you ever seen the movie like Slapshot?
Oh, I saw one guy killed a guy on the ice, right? In was it Russia or somewhere, right?
Sweden. I think it was Sweden. It was a Canadian player, actually.
He kicked the guy in the neck, and he died because he kicked a guy with a skate, which is a sharp-ass blade, and he, like, had his foot in the air, and the guy got kicked in the neck. I'm surprised it doesn't happen more often, but you don't see that in the UFC. Like, people aren't dying in MMA. It doesn't happen.
Well, it's very rare that it happens, but it's
MMA, like, I haven't heard of any MMA fighter dying from a fight ever. I mean, I'm sure it's happened, but I can't recall an instance of it happening.
Boxing,
and I've been following and covering the sport for like almost 20 years at this point. You know what I mean? I can't recall any MMA fighter dying. It's never happened in the UFC. It's never happened in the UFC.
No, because you know what? Because it's
not even close,
right? Listen, that's the thing with the MMA world. You know, unlike boxing at times where you can keep getting like hammered with punches and like the thing with MMA, at any point when the person is not defending in any type of vulnerable position, the ref calls the fight. It's done. You know, sometimes it's a bit early, sometimes it might be a little bit later, but there's not enough damage to be inflicted unless you're trying to prevent an armbar or a shoulder lock like Nogueira. That's a different story. But to get pounded to the point where you're completely like destroyed. Yeah, it happens with the knockouts. No doubt about it.
Oh.
You get knocked out.
Did you see the Bobby Green fight last weekend?
Yeah. It's violent.
Jalen Turner dropped Bobby Green, was on top of Bobby Green, bam, 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 hitting him with punches. That referee was very slow to jump in. That was a terribly late stoppage that could have resulted in something more serious for Bobby Green. Thankfully, the UFC is a professional outfit where they have proper medicals done for the fighters beforehand. So they're going into these fights at 100% as far as their brain scans and everything, which is
you would hope.
Which is where I think a lot of things happen in boxing, where you have kind of low-end commissions and not a lot of money behind the fights, and some of these boxers going in already having been knocked out way too many times in the past. Their brain scans aren't right, but they're not getting brain scanned, so they go into these fights, they get hit a few times, they get knocked out, their brain starts to bleed, and they die. And that's what's happened in boxing over the years, and I think a lot of that, like, you don't see it happening in the big money fights. You know, like, nobody dies in a Floyd Mayweather fight. Mike Tyson was knocking guys unconscious, but nobody died because there was a lot of money behind those fights and a lot of money in making sure that the fighters were fit to fight medically on the night, right? It's kind of these low-end cards, these smaller shows where there's not a lot of money for the pre-fight medicals. That's where a lot of times people die. That's where people die in combat sports. Thankfully, it's not happened in the UFC, and we are hoping that it never, ever happens in the UFC. Seeing people get seriously injured and die in WWE, I don't want to see it in the UFC.
Listen, you got a point, because it happened here in Montreal, actually, a couple of years ago when it was two female fighters, one from Quebec, the other one that came in from Mexico, that came in to fight. And the thing with the UFC, there's really strict rules. And, the doctors coming in to assess everything. There's got to be a whole background check. There's all kinds of stuff that's done before the fight, leading up to the fight, where are they 100% ready for this fight? Yes. Sometimes they might have some, like, slight injuries and things like that is still fightable. but could be at a disadvantage. But we don't know about that stuff. But when it comes to like concussions or things like that, the UFC takes that shit seriously. The thing is that in the boxing fight that happened here in Montreal a couple of years back between two female fighters, there was a lot of paperwork that was done, but it was up to the fighter to check off, did you have a concussion?
Okay.
And the fighter said, like, no on that box, which apparently she had a concussion just not too long ago and into her training camp. So when she went into that fight, unfortunately, you could take a look at the news or like Google searching and whatnot. No, this poor girl unfortunately died. I mean, that's the problem that, it's up to me to say, yeah, I feel 100%, or like maybe she didn't understand the question that well. Like, I mean, there's all kinds of factors that might have been an issue. And unfortunately, that girl died. She didn't die in the ring. She collapsed in the ring at the end, and she died in the hospital.
Yeah, that's
she was only like 20, I think she was like 21 years old or even younger for that matter. It's just an unfortunate, I think she was younger.
It does seem to, that kind of stuff does seem to happen in boxing more often, and I think they're just taking a lot more punishment to the brain, with the 10-second rule. When you get knocked down, you can get back up. You get hit in the head so hard that you fall down, but then you're allowed to get up and take more punishment. That's not good for your brain. That's why in the UFC, I think it's actually safer when you see guys getting dropped and then they get followed up, bam, bam, bam. Like even what happened to Bobby Green. It wasn't good, but I think Bobby Green takes that shot, boom, drops. If he gets up and he's given time to kind of recover, get his wits about him, his brain has still suffered that trauma. And now he's going to suffer more trauma and more trauma. I think it's actually better to get pounded out on the ground rather than to get a few seconds to recover and then take more punishment, because that just leads to just more and more and more. I'm not a brain surgeon. I'm not any kind. Believe me, I'm not a brain surgeon. I'm far from it, right? I'm a dumbass who talks about fights. But I have seen enough fights to know that the more times you get hit in the head and dropped, the less times you're able to do it again in the future. There's only so many times. Pro wrestlers call it a bump card. You only have so many bumps you can take before your backs and your knees and your neck and everything goes, nope, that's enough. We're not taking any more of those. We can't take it. And MMA fighters have a punch card. They got the punch card. There's only so many punches you can take, and everybody's punch card is different. Some guys have a big old punch card. It's a thick, big sheet of paper. You could punch it all day, and eventually it'll run out, but it's big. Some guys have a punch card this big, Some guys, they could take it for a while. Some guys can't. It's just, who knows? It's hard to tell. You got guys that can get knocked out and come back and keep fighting. You get guys that get knocked out one time, their career is over.
Yeah, and it happens, man.
It's just genetics a lot of the times. There's not too much you could do to train your chin, hydration. There's things that you can do to not get knocked out.
But I mean, it's hard, man. Listen, look, your brain is 80% water, man, and that's the thing. Like, all
right, let's not start talking about brains and water and stuff, AJ, because we're going to be out of our depth. Sorry, okay, I just want to. We got some comments rolling in, and I want to address some of the comments. Setting us straight on a couple of things, which are good comments, of course, always good. Johnny North says, according to Wikipedia, 17 deaths in MMA fights, which surprises me. I didn't know about that. I hadn't heard, but
could be amateur too, right?
Yeah,
it could be on the amateur.
Could have been. Too, Angelo Contagonis says, happy Hanukkah, Dave. Thank you, Angelo. Happy Hanukkah to all my friends. Leor says, hello, friends. Hello, Leor. Hello, Angelo. Hello, 12-15%. Hello, Brooklyn Lizard. Hello, Helium. Siam. Angelo also says the hockey incident was in England. The thing where the guy died from the skate to the neck, which is crazy.
But I think he was Canadian, if I'm not mistaken.
The guy was Canadian, I think. Yeah. But he was playing hockey in England. That's awful. Sad. It's a terrible thing when anybody dies doing sports. You shouldn't die playing a game. That's really, you shouldn't die doing something that's good for you.
Dave, I was just going to say quickly, I think it was Clint Malarchuk that I actually saw, like, that when he got cut by a blade and he was, like, bleeding to death on the ice, they managed to save him and all that. And there was another goalie, too, that it happened to. I just can't remember who now. But all to say is that shit happens, man. And you're right. You've got, like, two swords on your feet. At all times, with like many players on the ice. You're right, man. That's why I'm telling you, man, there should be some mandatory stuff, and neck guards should be one of them. I've been saying that for a long time, just like MMA gloves. We've got an issue with MMA gloves with the eye pokes and that kind of stuff. They created a type of MMA glove. I forgot who it was. If it was George or who was it? Bas Rutten. I don't remember who created that styled glove where it's a little bit curved so he can avoid those eye pokes.
It was
I forgot who it was.
Goddamn, I'm blanking on the guy's name. He's a coach in Denver. He was Rose Namajunas' coach. He's Justin Gaethje's coach. He's Kamaru Usman's coach. Trevor Whitman.
Oh, Trevor Whitman. That's right.
Yeah.
He created that glove. So what happened to it? Why are we looking into this stuff? And the same thing for hockey, man. There's got to be some stuff where, listen, man, you've got all kinds of like mesh associated equipment, man, that they have in other sports that they can use against like shark bites and knife bites and that kind knife attacks. Why don't you use this kind of like meshing type of design into something like a neck guard for hockey?
People don't want safety. People don't want that stuff. Even, I mean, come on, man. You know the history of hockey. They had helmets available to players, and some guys were like, nah, I'm just going to roll around with my hair like flying in the wind. Other guys have helmets. I'm just going to go sans helmet. Like, that was a thing. Helmets at one time in the NHL were optional. Like, I'm old enough to know. I don't think I remember. You're old enough to remember seeing players play in the NHL without helmets, right? Like, by the time I was born, I think pretty much everybody wore a helmet. Maybe some old guys were like, I'm not wearing a helmet, goddammit. You know, like, it could have been some of those guys hanging with a cigarette,
Guy
you know.
was one of them.
I'm smoking a cigarette in the fucking halftime, and I'm not, or period, whatever, intermission.
Smoke on the bench, man.
Yeah, those guys loved it, man. You know? They're the best. But, I mean, those guys are real hockey players. All the other hockey players are bullshit compared to Quebec hockey players that smoke cigarette at intermission. If you smoke a cigarette at intermission, you're a real motherfucker. You're a real hockey player. All these other guys are bitches compared to you. Yeah, Guy Lafleur, like, that's a real hockey player. He's, like, smoking cigarettes, drinking beer. He's, like, half drunk, and he's still scoring all the goals. He's like, no helmet. Helmets are for bitches. And he's like, ah, ha, ha, ha. Guys are, like, getting their heads knocked off with helmets. He's like, haha, you can't catch me. And he's, like, coughing up a lung after he scores. Like, fucking crazy. Tremendous, man. Those old-timey hockey players are, like, such cool athletes, you know? They just had flavor.
I met him once.
The hockey players now, like, because they have all these helmets and visors and shit, you don't know what they're doing. You don't know what they look like. They got no flavor. They got no pizzazz, you know? The NHL is, like, such a league with no pizzazz. It's got no, like, it's got no spark, you know? Like, who's a cool hockey player? Like, I don't know any of them. I don't know any hockey
Sidney
player.
Crosby, man,
he's not cool, though.
Man,
have you ever seen Sidney Crosby do acting or, like, interviewed and stuff? Like, he's not a cool guy. You know, like, you don't go,
you're right.
That's Sidney Crosby. He's charismatic. You go, no, that's Sidney Crosby. He's, like, a nice boy from Nova Scotia who's good at hockey. But, like, he's not, like, a guy where you go, wow, he's a personality. And there's nobody in the NHL where you go, wow. Yeah, Mark Messier, but, like, when's the last time you saw him? You know what I mean? He doesn't play hockey anymore. That guy played hockey when I was a kid. Yeah. I'm saying,
dude, he was
I don't see a lot of NHL players with, like, personalities or flavor or anything. The league is, like, very bland. It's very bland. It's like, I never see anybody doing anything interesting. And it seems like it's a league that, like, when you start to be interesting or you start to talk shit or whatever, like, all the fans and all the media are like, oh, he's an asshole. Fuck that guy. It's like, what? He's kind of fun, though, isn't he? He's like, no, it's not part of the game. It's not respectful. It's like, you got to be respectful and drink beer and have a really red face. And it's like, all right, I guess. I don't know. Also, half these guys that talk about hockey on the TV, I see them. My God, they look like alcoholics. They look really fucking rough. I see some of these guys with the white hair and their faces fucking beat red. And I'm like, dude, you look like shit, man. Like, I don't understand how they go on TV looking like this. Like, beat red. You could tell they're drunk at the time. A lot of alcohol in hockey.
It's kind of like Joe Rogan sometimes when he does his show, man. You know he's, like, flying high and he's
but he's smoking weed on camera. Like, he's not trying to hide anything, you know?
But Rogan's the best, man. Rogan is numero uno, man.
Let's stop talking shit. Yeah, exactly. Like that PK Subban character, Lior says, you know? And all of the NHL was like, oh, he's bad. He's not cool, you know? And, like, there was another thing going on with PK Subban that I think a lot of the hockey people didn't like, and it wasn't his personality. I'll leave it there. Fuck you think? AJ, are you there? Ah, damn it. Did I just get blocked out? What's happening, AJ? Did I lose AJ? Did I lose you for a second there?
Yeah, it got a little bit laggy there. No, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Okay.
Yeah, you did. No, you didn't lose me, but it kind of lagged.
I think we're back. I think we glitched out for a second.
But you were talking.
But that PK Subban guy,
I think it was the PK Subban talk.
Right. I'm saying it wasn't
awesome.
just his personality that the NHL fans and the NHL media didn't like. You know what I'm saying? It was something else about him that they didn't like, and it wasn't the way he spoke or acted.
Maybe he was smacking some other people like Messi was. I mean, I'm just saying.
I think it was because a lot of them is because he's a black man, and a lot of the media and people are racist. Hockey's a pretty white sport.
I'm going to tell you something. No. Listen, that's absolutely right, man.
Racism froze the whole show. Thank you, Lior. Thank you. Yes.
Listen, there was so many jerseys sold with PK Subban, man. Like when he was with Montreal and when he went to other teams. PK Subban was a star, man. He has the personality. Man, this guy donated over $10 million to the Montreal Children's Hospital. Every time I drive by there, I see PK Subban. And I'm like, why isn't he back in Montreal? This guy's got to be back in Montreal. But you know what? There's a lot of it has nothing to do with color. The guy was an amazing.
But he was outspoken, like he spoke. You know, he was able to.
That's the problem, man.
Like that's it. But he had like a personality, and you could tell when this guy spoke. I was like, oh, this guy's charismatic. You know, like even me, a guy who doesn't watch hockey and doesn't care at all. I saw the guy, and I was like, he's a star. You know, he's got personality. And I heard so many people go, oh, he's too, whatever. He's cocky, he's arrogant, whatever they want to say, all the code words that they use, when they don't like you for whatever reason. But
I know that, man.
It's a lot of kind of coded language because they don't want to be outright racist or whatever. But come on, man. But that's that is what it is. It's hockey. It's fucking lame.
No,
that's
but
why
you know what it is.
That's why the NHL is the lowest sports league in all of the sports leagues. That's why the UFC is bigger than the NHL. That's why Major League Baseball and the NFL and the NBA are leaving, the NHL in the dust. It's not because hockey is a worse game than these other games. It's because the league is run like a fucking, mom and pop operation. It's not.
Well, it's with that commissioner too, man.
It's not big time. It's not. Also, people don't care about hockey in most places other than Canada. But we're here to talk about MMA, and I would like to do that. Right? Johnny North trying to get into the nitty-gritty of things, Johnny. And I don't even know what the hell he's talking about. So we're going to move on from that. I want to talk about UFC 300. A lot of rumors going around about UFC 300. It's the talk of MMA. People are very excited about this event going down in April. We're just, 3-4 months away from this show that's supposed to be the UFC show to end all UFC shows. We still don't know what could headline this show. But
it's like it keeps changing, man.
Well, there are a lot of rumors going around. It doesn't look like Conor McGregor will be on the show, right? So you've got the biggest star in the UFC probably not fighting because he's going to fight in the summertime, right?
It's a tough one, dude.
Sean Strickland is fighting in January. If he can get past Dricus du Plessis quick, do you think he can do a fast turnaround and fight Khamzat Chimaev in April for the belt to headline that pay-per-view? Because Khamzat says he's having hand surgery, but he wants to fight at UFC 300. And I'm looking at potential opponents for Khamzat Chimaev. He just came off a win over Kamaru Usman. I'd like to see Khamzat fight a legit 185er. Like maybe Paulo Costa? If he doesn't get Sean Strickland, Khamzat and Paulo Costa was the fight that was supposed to happen, right, at that pay-per-view in Abu Dhabi. Paulo Costa pulled out. Costa and Khamzat seem to still have beef. I think Paulo Costa, Khamzat Chimaev is a pretty big fight that they could do at UFC 300. I think you either do that or you do a quick turnaround. Like, it depends how the Strickland-du Plessis fight goes, right? How do you think that fight goes in January, AJ? Sean Strickland, Dricus du Plessis in Toronto, January pay-per-view, UFC 297. By the way, Jan Blachowicz was supposed to fight, what's his name? Who was he fighting on that one? Anyways, he's not.
Yeah, he was. That guy.
You know, the guy Rakic. He was supposed to fight Alexander Rakic in January. He's not fighting Rakic. He's out. He's hurt. Sean Strickland, Dricus du Plessis is still the main event for that UFC 297 show. And if you look at the landscape of UFC right now, like, it's difficult to figure out who the main eventer is going to be for UFC 300. Because UFC 296, we got the welterweight championship on the line. UFC 297, we've got the middleweight championship on the line. UFC 298, you've got the featherweight championship on the line. And UFC 299, you've got the bantamweight championship on the line, right? So I just went. So this UFC 300 is not going to be headlined by a flyweight fight because that's just ridiculous, right? And I believe the flyweights are fighting anyways at UFC 297 in like the co-main event, right? Oh no, 296. Pantoja and Royval, they're fighting at UFC 296, which is next week, by the way. Last UFC pay-per-view of the year next week. Kobe Covington, Leon Edwards, Alexander Pantoja, Brandon Royval for the flyweight title there. So we got the flyweight title, the bantamweight title, the featherweight title. We don't have the lightweight title, right? It could be Islam Makhachev, right? We have the welterweight title just about to be defended here with Leon Edwards. The middleweight title is getting defended in January with Sean Strickland. The light heavyweight title is held by Alex Pereira. Could we possibly see Pereira fight somebody at UFC 205? And if so,
saying Israel.
Who?
They're saying
I don't think Israel goes back.
3.
Israel Pereira 3 at light heavyweight.
Yep.
I thought Israel was taking like a year off.
Yeah, well, it's going to be almost like, I wouldn't say close to a year, but it's a long time he's going to be off. It could be I think it would be great for him to come back. 300, I think it's enough time that he's been off. I think that could be like, that's the rumored fight, man. And that would be awesome. You need a card like that. I was looking at some things
that.
like,
you kind of need Israel Adesanya versus Alex Pereira because you need to headline UFC 300 with a world title fight, right? And I just outlined every world champion is booked. The flyweight champion, like 125, 135, 145, not 155, but we're going to circle back on Islam Makhachev and why he might not fight at UFC 300 in a second. 170, 185, all booked. They all have fights booked between now and April, so they're probably not going to fight again in April, right? Then you have the 205 champion Pereira, who's out there, possible. The heavyweight champion John Jones, he's hurt. He's not fighting at UFC 300. The interim champion Tom Aspinall just won the belt. Maybe he headlines UFC 300. Maybe.
Look, there's some
I don't know who he would
there.
headline against. Would you like to see Alex Pereira move up to heavyweight and fight Tom Aspinall and see if he can be a 3-division champion for the first time ever for any UFC fighter? It'd be hard.
It's going to be hard.
But
man.
is that
possible?
Is that a possibility?
It's a possibility, which would make for an exciting fight. Everybody would want to watch it. I'd watch it. It would be cool. I think it would be a great fight. But does he have the capabilities to go up against such a beast like Tom Aspinall? Look, man.
He looked pretty good against Yuri. He looked pretty damn good against Yuri Prohaska.
He did, man.
I'm starting to think Pereira can do anything.
He can. He's like he's the Amazonian headhunter, man, and he proves it. There's no doubt about it. But Tom Aspinall, man, I saw something from 12:15 earlier talking about Tom Aspinall is it. Tom Aspinall is the king. He's the future. There's going to be not too many people that are going to be able to remove this guy. It's going to be hard, man. That Tom Aspinall, man, he's built differently, man. He's like, man, UK dangerous. I mean, he's like everything you'd want. Look, he's everything you want in a fighter.
Dangerous?
UK dangerous, man.
Because he's from the UK and he's dangerous.
Yeah, man. Damn right, man.
Sounds like a wrestler name.
Great fight with Alex Pereira.
I'm UK dangerous.
I'm pretty sure Tom will
fucking dangerous.
UK dangerous, man.
I'm UK dangerous.
And you know what would be interesting? Listen, another rumor was this. You want to hear it? Dustin Poirier versus Nate Diaz. Nate Diaz coming back for something that's going to be important.
Yep.
He'll come back for a 300 because that's a show fight.
But
Win or
that's
lose,
not headlining unless it's for the BMF title or something.
But it's going to be on the main card. You know what I'm saying? That's what you want. I want to see a main card.
Yeah.
Bam, bam,
I mean,
bam.
sure, but that's a lot of money to spend on an undercard fight. That's not the main event. It's a lot of money for Nate Diaz. Like, I don't know. Does the UFC, break the bank for this card, or do they just try to kind of beef it up UFC style and not do anything too crazy? Like, for UFC 200, they brought back Brock Lesnar. One fight, fought Mark Hunt. That was a big deal. That was a co-main event. That was a cool fight. What are they going to do for UFC 300? Now, I don't think Charles Oliveira and Islam Makhachev is going to be the main event because Ramadan starts in March and ends just about the time UFC 300 would be. So that's smack in the middle of fight camp for Islam Makhachev. I don't think Islam is going to do fight camp during Ramadan. I don't think he's going to do that. Khabib never did that. I don't think Islam is going to do that. So I don't think Islam Makhachev is even on the table to fight until after April. I think, June, July is when we might see Islam Makhachev fight again and defend that lightweight title because, Ramadan is going to happen. It's going to end in April, and then he's going to need at least 8 weeks after that for a fight camp to take his next fight. So I wouldn't expect him in May. I would expect him at the earliest in June of 2024. So, again, man, that rules out Islam. So you have 125, 135, 145, 155, 170, 185, all ruled out. 205 champion Alex Pereira is out there. Tom Aspinall, heavyweight champion, interim heavyweight champion, is out there. There are fights there for them. Israel Adesanya versus Alex Pereira for the light heavyweight title makes a lot of sense. Brock Lesnar versus Tom Aspinall for the interim heavyweight title would be pretty awesome, and I think some people would be very mad that Brock would be getting the shot, but at the same time, it would be damn cool to see Brock Lesnar fight again. Cyril Gane versus Tom Aspinall would be a fun fight, although I think that they should do that fight in London or Paris because it would be massive there. Like France versus England for the heavyweight title. Could you imagine in Europe? It would be nuts. So I think they have to do it over there. I think it would be a waste to do that fight in Las Vegas. I think that London or Paris would be incredible. I hope for Cyril it's in Paris too because he would, that would be a benefit to Cyril, I think. So that would be a good fight there. I think Cyril and Aspinall is the fight to make for the UFC. Like Aspinall's next fight here at interim heavyweight champion status should be against Cyril Gane. So again, we're back to Alex Pereira, or maybe you have like
Max
a women's
That's
championship fight. Like what if Alexa Grasso defends her women's 125-pound belt in the main event, and the co-main event is like Nate Diaz and Dustin Poirier. And then you also have like some other big fights like Khamzat versus Paulo Costa. Like what if you stack the undercard, but you give us like a terribly weak main event?
No, you can't. You can't, Dave. You can't.
I think you can.
That's like fighting the hair in the soup. What are you talking about?
But look, UFC 200, okay? I'm going to go back to UFC 200. The main event of that card was Amanda Nunes and Miesha Tate. Now, their names, and it's cool, but the co-main event was Brock Lesnar, Mark Hunt. Before that, Daniel Cormier fought Anderson Silva, and then Jose Aldo fought Frankie Edgar, and Cain Velasquez fought Travis Brown. I would argue that every fight on the main card before the main event was a bigger fight than the main event. So I think you could do the same thing at UFC 300.
No, you can't, man. It's 300, dude.
So
they're in the billions,
it was 200.
Man.
It was 200. I'm just telling you what they did at 200.
Company.
It's the same
thing. They were
thing.
$1 million company back then.
No.
It's $1 million company. Now you're $1 billion company.
No.
You gotta bring out the guns, and you've got Bellator and the PFL merging. You gotta come out. But still, Dave, you got to come out swinging. At 300, it better be one firework after another, and then the grand finale where you're like, holy shit, man.
Uh-oh. Are we
Ronda
losing AJ
Rousey,
again?
you know what I mean? She's in the mix. She is there. Imagine the return of Ronda Rousey. How insane would that be?
It would be good. There are rumors of Ronda Rousey.
Exactly.
There are rumors that Ronda Rousey,
the return of Ronda Rousey, 300
will come back.
Sparta, 300.
Now, Miesha Tate won last weekend. Okay, UFC Austin happened last weekend. Miesha Tate got a victory, a big win for her, and she was telling MMA Fighting before the fight that with a win, she hoped to fight at UFC 300, and she'd like to fight Holly Holm. Miesha lost her championship to Holly Holm, and then, never got it back. And she would like a rematch, and she would like revenge, and she would like another fight with Holly Holm. And I think that's a fight you could put on the UFC 300 card. I think you could put it on the main card. I think maybe, depending on what they have on the main card, maybe it makes only the prelims. If Ronda Rousey's coming back to fight Miesha Tate, that's a main card fight for sure. And I think that that's a possibility. I think Ronda is a possibility if the UFC wants to give her a ton of money. I think the UFC could entice Ronda Rousey to come back for, millions and millions of dollars to beat up Miesha Tate one more time. I don't think she would mind beating up Miesha Tate again. And I think Miesha Tate would love the opportunity to get revenge. Ronda's not fought in a long time. Miesha has been active in the UFC, just picked up a victory last weekend. I think Miesha might see an advantage here. I think Miesha might see an advantage. She might see a lane where she could beat Ronda this time. And I think Ronda, in her mind, doesn't believe that Miesha has a shot in hell of beating her ever. And I think that for guys like us watching the fights, it's an interesting matchup because Ronda's been inactive for a very long time. How much has she been training, if at all? And Miesha Tate, we know she's in the game. We know she's training. We know she's trying to improve. What's that fight look like in 2023 or 2024 when it would take place, right? Like, what does that fight look like today? And I think that there's interest there. I don't think there's enough interest in making it the main event unless you want to make a women's BMF fight, a bad father fucker fight or something. I don't know what you call what's a female motherfucker, a women, I don't know. A motherfucker. A motherfucker upper.
The
I don't know.
Bitch, man. The BAB. The BAB, man. The BAB title.
Bad bitch belt.
Badass bitch. That's what it is. The BAB.
The triple B. The bad bitch belt. The triple B.
There you go.
Like MJF's belt. The triple
Dana,
B.
if you take that, man, remember, you better give us some credit.
Yeah.
Badass bitch.
Uh-huh.
The BAB. You heard it first. Ringside Report.
I think that's rude. I don't think we should be saying these things. But, I think a Ronda Miesha fight would be a lot of fun. A lot of fun. And Johnny North is saying to us, Ronda is expected back when AEW tours California again. I mean, yeah, sure. She'll work maybe a couple wrestling dates independently when they're near where she lives, but she's not traveling as a wrestler anymore. She could fully be in a training camp and do the odd indie wrestling date. It's really not it's not a big deal. So, yeah, I could see Ronda Rousey fighting at UFC 300. I could see Miesha Tate getting one of those fights, either against Ronda, which would be massive for her, or against Holly Holm, which would be big too. So I think there's interest in either one of those fights. I'd like to see that fight. I'd like to see Miesha get one of those fights. I'd like to see Miesha Tate at UFC 300. She's one of these people that have helped build the sport and build the UFC, right? Miesha Tate, Ronda Rousey, that rivalry was very big for the UFC. It did very big numbers for them, and I'd like to see people like that honored at UFC 300 and getting the big fights that they want. I want to see big fights. I want to see big stars. I want to see George St. Pierre fight Nick Diaz. Give it to me.
That would be insane. Imagine that would happen. I mean, that can happen at 300.
The rumor's still out there.
It's a rumor. It is.
George looks
is
amazing.
In phenomenal shape.
George looks crazy.
Ridiculous, man.
I follow him on Instagram. He just did like a 4-day fast or something. I see him posing. He's like
no water for 4 days.
Stupid jacked. Just ridiculously muscular. Just ripped abs like crazy. I'm just like, God damn. He is Superman. Like there are guys out there that are just built different. George St. Pierre is not a regular man. He works so hard too. Like I don't want to take anything away from George by saying, guy's a freak, but he's a freak that works hard. It's like crazy. It's like he's got all the superpowers and he works really hard to make them really, really good. Like he's a next level human being. He's great. He's the best.
Maybe he was
He's the
right,
best
like
ever.
I said, man.
That's why he can never be beat, because he was so far ahead of the pack, athletically, genetically, everything, mind, body, spirit, but also skill and cunning and ability to reason and to change things up in a fight and to have multiple game plans and multiple ways to beat you, and just always prepared and over-prepared and obsessively prepared and just working harder than everybody else and more talented than everybody else and more athletically gifted. He had everything, and he still has everything. Like, George St. Pierre is the greatest MMA fighter of all time, and I will say that until I die, and I will be saying that forever and ever and ever and ever, because you just cannot... You can't beat the guy. He was so good. He was so dominant, and he was just relentless. And people in his time were like, oh, he's boring. You know how hard it is to take people down as much as he did and to just keep doing it? Guys would get back up. The fight would, the round would end, and George, he'd be tired and beat up, and then he'd come back the next round and take you down again and beat you up again. You couldn't do anything about it. People got mad because it was like automatic. It was automatic with George St. Pierre. He would take you down, and you were done. It was over. He was the original Khabib. He was better than Khabib because he had karate striking too, and excellent boxing and power and just everything. Everything. George and Khabib, if they would have fought, but the UFC was scared. UFC was scared to give Khabib to George because they knew George was going to beat him and then walk away. Khabib was their golden goose, and the UFC was scared to let George fight him. So they said, well, George, you're not getting that fight. And George said, well, you don't have anybody else that's worth fighting. I'm retiring then. And then the UFC said, maybe we'll do it. I don't know. But they had their chance, and they were scared because they knew what George was going to do to Khabib. George would have destroyed Khabib, and I stand on that forever. George would have beat the shit out of Khabib. It wouldn't have even been close, and all this talk of Khabib being the greatest of all time would have been squashed in that moment, and the UFC can never, ever have that back. George would have demolished Khabib Nurmagomedov in his prime when George retired. When George said, oh, I'm retiring, I'm done, right? Before he came back and fought Bisping. Before that, when he retired officially, right? He wanted the Khabib fight then, right? When I asked him, hey, if Dana says the Khabib fight is back on, would you take the fight? And he was like, yeah, I would take the fight. I'm coming back,
You went viral, dude.
Yeah, I did.
You went viral with that comment.
I've been viral many times. I mean, I went viral over the past couple of days with some AEW stuff. People, I go crazy all the time.
But that comment
people
was
steal
like,
my stuff all the time, AJ. People steal my stuff.
I know. Listen, I heard
That's
you when
okay,
you made
though,
that comment. I'm like, that's Dave.
I have more original content. It never stops. It never
Well,
stops.
you got the ball rolling that George would be back. With that comment, man, I was like,
of course.
Dave, what great comment, man. Right now, everybody took it like, oh, George might be back, I'm telling you, George is a phenomenon.
Because I saw through it. I saw through it. I knew
did.
what was really going on. George wasn't retiring. George just didn't have any fights in the UFC that they were willing to offer him. And they didn't want to offer him Khabib, so he's like, well, it's not worth fighting any of these low-end guys that aren't going to make any money. So I'm out until there's a fight that's worth taking, right? Because I see through it. Like The Rock once said to John Cena, real men see through bullshit. And if you're a real one, right, you see through the bullshit.
You got a point there, dude. But we can all agree one thing. Maybe George was probed for real by aliens because it's not normal. The guy
he's
got
the greatest
probed.
ever. So who do you want to see main event UFC 300? Are you satisfied with Pereira and Adesanya in a third fight here? Is that what you want?
I want that on the card. I want that on the card. But I want to see. And it's still a possibility. Conor McGregor. The great Conor McGregor against Michael Chandler. That's what I want to see. And that
can't headline, though, over a world title fight because there's no belt on the line. That's a 3-round fight, buddy.
Listen, man, it could be a it could be like, it could be something. Maybe Conor with a 3-round fight, he might be able to do what he usually does and win. That could be interesting. Conor is right there. I'm telling you.
He's not fighting at UFC 300. I promise you.
He wants to. He's been saying he wants to. He's like,
Has he? He seems to want to be the Prime Minister of Ireland.
Well, he's got a good point at times. I got to give him credit there, that Connor. He's on the ball. But I'm going to tell you something. There might be a possibility, Dave, that we see him at 300. I'm telling you, 300 is going to be one of those where you're going to be like, holy shit. Because to be honest, by the time 400 comes, Connor won't be there. Michael Chandler won't be there.
No.
Like a lot of these fighters will never see them again. We might see the return of Ronda.
Look at 200.
And that'll be the end of it.
Right,
like, yeah,
AJ, 100 UFCs ago, right? Look at UFC 200 in 2016, right? UFC 300 is going to be in 2024. So we're talking 8 years between 100 UFC events, right?
Yep.
UFC 200 was main evented by Amanda Nunes and Miesha Tate. Nunes is retired. Tate is, she did retire, but she's back and still fighting, Brock Lesnar, Mark Hunt, co-main event. They're retired. Daniel Cormier, Anderson Silva, they're retired. Jose Aldo, Frankie Edgar, they're retired. Cain Velasquez, Travis Brown, they're retired. Everybody at UFC 200 except Miesha Tate is retired from MMA.
Who technically did retire and came back, but she's still not the same Miesha Tate.
Right, so everybody at UFC 200 has retired from MMA. One of them came back, but, and that's it. When you get to UFC 400, nobody at UFC 300 will still be fighting, except for Jim Miller and Clay Guida. They will be fighting until UFC 800.
Clay Guida, man. Now that's a fighter.
That's a gamer right there. Clay Guida fought last weekend. He lost to Joaquin Silva, but it was a tough fight. Like, he lost a decision, Like, Clay, he comes to fight. He's been fighting.
Man.
He's 41 years old. He's been fighting in the UFC since he made his UFC debut at UFC 64 in 2006.
Is that incredible? That's insane, man. Think about it.
Mm-hmm.
There's not too many guys like him, man. Cowboy Cerrone was another one. Wonder Boy Thompson, another, where they just power through and keep going, man. But Clay Guida, man, he's something special. This guy, man, he's just got that fighting mentality. Like Cowboy Cerrone, man, who would never give up a fight, man. He fought more fights in 1 year than most people have had in their career. And there's not too many guys like that. That's what makes the sport special, because a guy like Clay Guida, man, he's still there. And he still puts out an exciting fight. And that's what the UFC wants, man. The UFC wants guys that can entertain. And that's the bottom line. So that's why I'm getting back to 300. 300 has to be entertaining. It has to be gladiators entertaining, man. Bring in the lions, bring in the hippo, bring in whatever, man. You got to make it win.
Okay.
Thumbs up or thumbs down?
I don't agree with that about lions and hippos. You kind of lost me there. Arman Tsarukyan knocked out Beneil Dariush last weekend in the first round. Dariush,
that was crazy,
one of these guys, like, he was on a win streak for a while, but didn't get the big fights at the right time. And then by the time he got the big fight, it was a little bit too late. He got that Oliveira fight. He got beat in the first round. Like, he was on a run, He won 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 in a row in the UFC lightweight division, which is very difficult to do, but just never wound up getting the title fight. Then he lost to Oliveira in the first round. Then he gets knocked out by Arman Tsarukyan in the first round. He just didn't hit the stride at the right time, didn't get the big fights at the right time, and that's the story of some guys' careers, and I think it's kind of the story of Beneil Dariush. He loses to Tsarukyan last weekend. Tsarukyan looks really good. Tsarukyan looks so good that Dana White is starting to say, like, yeah, I know Oliveira was supposed to be next for Islam, but it may be Tsarukyan.
Yeah, could be a possibility.
They fought before. Tsarukyan lost a close decision back in 2019. He's fought Islam before, and it was close. And that's 2019, and Tsarukyan was... goddamn young. He's 27 years old, this kid. I mean, he's just getting better. He's 27, so in 2019, let's see, 4 years. He's 23 years old when he fought Islam Makhachev, and he went 3 rounds with him. You know what I mean? If you could go, if you could go 3 rounds with Islam Makhachev when you're 23, Imagine what you're going to be when you're 28 and 29. Like, this Tsarukyan kid could be the guy that beats Islam Makhachev. Islam's 32. Tsarukyan's 27. Give me this fight in a year or two, I'm picking Tsarukyan. Like, I think if you do this fight in 2024, Islam probably still has the edge. But if you do this fight in 2025, when Islam's 34 years old, right? Like, because what? Islam is, he's 32, so in 2024, he'll be 33. In 2025, he'll be 34. Once you hit 34, 35, you know what I'm saying? Like, Tsarukyan is going to age him out. That age difference is what's going to help Tsarukyan. Like, if I'm Arman Tsarukyan, I'm like, yeah, don't give me the Islam fight yet. I don't want to be champion yet. Let me take a couple of fights. Let Oliveira get Islam first, right? Like, wait it out a little bit. Because if you can wait it out till Islam is 34 and you're like 29, you're just getting into your prime, and Islam's just getting out of your prime, that's how you win that fight. Like, I'm telling you, man. That's how fights are won, and that's how things work in MMA. You got a short window, and sometimes you don't want to jump the gun too early. Just saying. If I'm his management, I'm saying, I'm telling the UFC we'll take it in 2025. We're not ready till 2025. We want to make sure he's like almost 30. You know, we want him at his peak. We don't want him when he's still learning. We want the best version of him to fight for the championship, you know?
You got a point, Dave. Absolutely. And you know what? The UFC has rushed some guys like too early. I can think of one.
Yeah.
I mean, Sage Northcutt. I mean, if you look at Sage Northcutt, I mean, when this guy came out, man, he was like everything you would expect to be the next George St. Pierre. He had everything, but they rushed him, man, and they sort of killed him. He's coming back, by the way. He's like, he's doing not too bad in the MMA scene again. You know, he had to sort of reconstruct himself, and that's the problem, man. You can't rush some of these fighters, especially when they're super young. You gotta lay the time, you know. And Sage Northcutt was one of them, and you know, it really like bothered me when I saw him get like, you know, destroyed, because the kid had talent. He just was put into the fast track that obviously bit him, and it's not his fault, you know.
And you look at a guy, like Sean O'Malley, right? He's 29 years old right now. He was 28 when he became world champion in August when he beat Aljamain Sterling. He got his first shot on the Dana White Contender Series in 2017, right? So they brought him up over several years. He was 6 years in the UFC before he got a world title shot. You know, like they recognize, like, this is a young kid with promise. And he was like 22, 23 when he got into the UFC. And they didn't rush him to the title shot when he was 25, 26. You know, they waited till he was about 28, 29, and then they're like, all right, it's time. He's ready. And that's what you got to do. You got to kind of bring some of these guys up. Don't rush them all the way to the top. But Tsarukyan, you know, at 27, he's getting close. He's getting close. And I think the UFC recognizes that. With that win over Dariush, he puts himself in the conversation for sure.
Yeah,
so
no
I
doubt
think
about it.
Tsarukyan may jump the line and get the shot at Islam over Charles, but I think Charles probably gets it next, and then Tsarukyan will be he'll be waiting in the wings. He'll either take another fight at 155 in the meantime, or he'll just get the winner of Charles and Islam, which is cool. So that was last weekend in the UFC Austin. Davison Figueiredo, former flyweight champion, he jumped up to 135, got a win over Rob Font, a unanimous decision victory. And Team Fred gave you a winning parlay last weekend, so that was good.
He did.
Congratulations to Team Fred. Yeah, we had all sorts of technical issues on the show last week that were mostly my fault, it turned out, which it's not, it's not often that it's my fault, but there was just a knob that had to be turned that wasn't turned. Anyways, nevertheless, we figured it out. It's all good now. But Fred's parlay did win last weekend. Mine was one fight off. I think we're about to give you a parlay for this weekend as the UFC is back at the Apex. This fight was supposed to be in China, but it got moved out of China, and Dana White, when asked about it, didn't really give her an answer as to why. So don't know why. Maybe it was poor ticket sales. Usually when the promoter doesn't want to give you a straight answer as to why the event got moved out of one place and moved back into the Apex.
Beneil died?
What?
Johnny said the video died. Yeah, something was like.
Yeah,
did you turn the knob again, Dave? Turn that knob.
No, that wasn't me. That was not me. We had like a technical glitch there. I don't know. We're having internet issues tonight.
I think it's happening all over the place.
Might be weather related. I'm not really sure. I think we're on right now, though, AJ. I think we're good.
Yeah, we're on. We're good, man. So just going back to that, I mean, yeah, I anything's possible. But look, coming into
I don't think it was a political thing. I don't know what's going on exactly. I don't think it was a political thing with China, AJ. I don't think it had anything to do with that. I honestly think it was because of low ticket sales. Because why would they cancel an event in Shanghai? Why would they do that? Why would they move it to Vegas?
Lots of money in Shanghai, man. That's why I find it hard to believe, man. I find that hard to believe. They support everything out there, man. Everything. But all I have to say is the fight is on, and, we got Song Yadong against Chris Gutierrez. That's going to be tough, man.
Gutierrez admitted in the lead-up to this fight he's afraid to fight Song Yadong.
Why would you say that for?
I don't know. He's just being honest,
Some things you just got to, try not to be that honest when you're going into a fight. I mean,
yeah, it's too honest, right? It's too honest.
It's too honest. I mean, unless he's trying to, I guess you want to trick your opponent, but I don't think tricking your opponent by saying I'm scared. I mean, it's more like, you know what? He's a great challenger, and, I got to be careful in the way I, fight this man. But to say I'm scared, dude, in front of a bear and you say I'm scared, chances are you're going to get eaten. But, yeah, Song is 25 years old, man. Incredible fighter, great speed, power. He's got everything, man. Good submissions. This kid is impressive. There's no doubt about it. So if Chris is afraid and admitting it, it's probably not a strong factor for me to pick him for the win, if you know what I mean.
Chris Gutierrez right now, plus 285 the underdog. Song Yadong, minus 360 the favorite. And that seems about right to me. I got Song Yadong in the main event.
Look, you're right, man.
Yeah. I got Song Yadong in the main event. Co-main event, we've got Khalil. Yeah, we're both going with Yadong. I'm not putting Yadong on my parlay, though. I don't trust him that much. No, I just minus 360. I don't like the number minus 360. I think the upset could happen there with Gutierrez. I don't think it will, but I just don't trust Yadong.
The only way it can happen is that if Chris has great leg kicks in the early round and just take away that lead leg. If he's able to take away that lead leg of Song Yadong, maybe he has a chance. But to be honest, I don't think that's going to happen. I think it's going to be a very controlled fight by Song. 25 years old. He has everything moving in his direction. The kid is super impressive. I agree with those odds, and I would put him on my parlay because he's coming out to win.
I don't trust Yadong is my line of the night for you. Okay, AJ? I don't trust Yadong. I just don't. I'm going to go.
My dog?
I didn't say that. Co-main event, we got Anthony Smith versus Khalil Roundtree. Khalil Roundtree's been looking really sharp lately. Knocked out Chris Daukaus in his last fight. He's won 4 in a row. He's 33 years old, coming on strong. Anthony Smith has fought for the championship in the division. 37-18 pro record, coming off a split decision win over Ryan Spann in his last fight. Big guy, strong guy, but I think this is going to be a tough fight for Anthony Smith.
35 years old, Dave.
Khalil Roundtree hits like a truck, and I think he's going to find the chin of Anthony Smith and put him down. I've got Khalil Roundtree, and I think he probably wins by knockout.
You know what, Dave? I agree with you on that one, too, because, Roundtree is faster, stronger, and if the fight carries on, it's going to be a serious threat to Anthony Smith. And I love Anthony Smith, one of my favorite fighters. But the thing is that he is vulnerable near the orbital bone because that's what shattered one time. He had to repair it. Yeah, it's always a disadvantage within that area. So if he gets hit hard, quick, and crisp from Roundtree, it's going to make a factor. And I think it's going to be harder as we go into the, latter rounds. I think Roundtree is going to be able to handle Smith. And you know what? It's too bad because, like I said, Anthony Smith to me is like, he's always been a very, very impressive fighter. I love his story, where he came from. It's hard, but Roundtree is going to be able to carry it through, man. This guy is tough, man. This guy is like sick tough, like tough as nails, man. Whatever you want to call it, it's going to be hard to take him down.
Yep. I think the takedown is what he's going to want there, Anthony Smith. But I think, to get that takedown, you got to come in range and you're going to get hit. Khalil has just looked better and better every time he steps out there. So I think there's still a lot of improvement there, and he's going to be the most dangerous version of himself here. I got Khalil Roundtree, -210, the favorite, over Smith, +170. I've also got the favorite in the next fight, Nasrat Haqparast, -190, over the +160, Jamie Mullarkey. I think Nasrat gets it done. And I'll give you my parlay here. What the hell? What are we waiting for? I'm also going with Tim Elliott, -130, Sue Maderji, +110. Maderji was supposed to fight someone else. Tim Elliott taking this fight on short notice.
He was supposed to fight Alan Nascimento.
All right. Well, he's not fighting him. He's fighting Tim Elliott, and I've got Tim Elliott for the win, and I'm putting Tim Elliott on my parlay. And my parlay looks like this. Khalil Roundtree, -210. Nasrat Haqparast, -190. Tim Elliott, -130. And I got Luana Santos over Stephanie Egger on the prelims as well. That's one I like in a major way. Luana Santos, -150. It's a 4-fight parlay from Team Dave. Roundtree, Haqparast, Elliott, and Santos, +564. $20 gets you 132.88 over at bet99.ringsidereport.net. Bet99.ringsidereport.net. Bet with us and support the Ringside Report Network and win yourself some money. The Team Dave parlay, I feel pretty good with this weekend. 4 fights, all favorites, pretty good odds. 20 gets you 132. +564 on a 4-fight parlay with all favorites is pretty decent by my understanding. Khalil, Nasrat, Elliott, and Santos. Team Dave parlay, AJ. You like it?
I kind of like it, man. I kind of like it. That's why I was looking at my picks here, and I'm like, let me just see where I should go here now.
Yeah.
So, let me start off at the top here. Obviously, I'm going with Song Yadong, man, for the win. Then I'm going to be going with Khalil Roundtree. Like I said earlier, I think it's going to be a tough fight for Anthony Smith. The power that Roundtree has, if he keeps hitting that eye socket, man, it's going to be a hard night for Anthony, and I think it's going to be a stoppage. Then I'm going to go with your pick, with Mullarkey as well. I think Mullarkey is going to be able to handle Nasrat.
I got Nasrat in that fight.
Oh, I thought you took Jamie Mullarkey, man.
No.
What? Hold on a sec.
What to you? What?
Listen,
Jamie
man.
Mullarkey barely got by John McDessie in his last fight. I think McDessie actually won. I got Nasrat.
Yeah, but look, both of these guys are guys that don't impress that much, man. They like KO power, man. Both of them are not great at it.
Nasrat's got some power.
Nasrat has 1 KO win in his last 11 UFC fights. I mean, this guy, man, this fight is going the distance. So it could be an either or, but I'm going to give it to Jamie Mullarkey on this one. Slight edge. I'm going with Jamie.
Okay.
What do you think of that, Dave?
I disagree.
Then I'm going to... You disagree? Okay.
Well, yeah.
So, we're going... Then, this is going to be a tough one, man. This... the Tim Elliott, man, against Suma Derej. I think I'm going to go with Tim Elliott on this. Being a last-minute replacement, 20-13, man. Yeah, Tim Elliott is my pick. And then I'm going to go with Jun Young Park, man. He's 8-0, this kid, man. Super competitive, tough. It's I don't know what he's at. Is he at -425? What was he at?
-170, Jun Young Park.
Oh, man, he dropped, man. Okay, so look, I'm still going with Sung Park.
Okay. Is that
Someone's
it? Are you ready?
in the park there.
That's
it, man. I'm ready, dude. That's it, dude.
The Team AJ parlay going with Elliott, Song Yadong, right?
Mm-hmm.
Khalil Roundtree, Jamie Malarkey, and Junyoung Park, plus 1278. 20 gets you 275.61 over at bet99.ringsidereport.net.
Wow.
1278 plus 1278, a 5-fight parlay for Team AJ. Junyoung Park, Jamie Malarkey, Khalil Roundtree, Song Yadong, and Tim Elliott. There you go, AJ.
Yeah, that's not a bad one. I mean, look, it's going to be tough on a few of them,
I don't
especially
like
the Jamie Nazareth fight.
I don't like it.
Not this homeboy. He likes it. Mikey likes it.
All right, homeboy. What else you got for me? I think we're good. The Yankees got Juan Soto. I've been asking and asking and asking and asking, and as a Hanukkah present to all Yankee fans, Brian Cashman delivered us Juan Soto late last night. The news became official. Juan Soto, welcome home. Welcome to the Pinstripes. Welcome to the greatest franchise in all of professional sports. We got Juan Soto.
Well, welcome, Soto.
Pretty massive.
Domo
Pretty massive.
Morigato.
He's going to be a big star in New York. There he is. Look at that. Juan Soto.
Wow, that's a pretty cool picture.
We
man.
have Juan Soto.
Yeah.
Yes. So nice.
Juan.
Yes, the Yankees got Juan
Number
Soto.
one.
And
Juan.
another guy, Trent Grisham. And in exchange, the Yankees got Juan Soto and Trent Grisham from the Padres for Michael King, Kyle Higashioka, Johnny Burrito, Randy Vasquez, and Drew Thorpe.
Johnny Burrito.
Johnny Burrito.
Wow,
yes. Johnny
man.
Burrito
Goodbye,
is going.
Johnny.
But honestly, I'm not sad to lose Johnny Burrito. Anytime Aaron Boone put in Johnny Burrito, I go, oh boy, shit's gonna go south. Here comes Johnny Burrito, and everything went to shit. So I don't like that Johnny Burrito. He wasn't that good. Michael King was all right, but honestly, it's fine. Higashioka I liked, but we could let Higgy go. And honestly, I think the Yankees got a very good deal for Juan Soto. They got a really good deal. What they sent over to San Diego is whatever. There was talk that the Padres wanted Jason Dominguez, the Martian, and I was like, yeah, that's not happening there, Padres. Take it easy. Juan Soto is cool and all, but we're not going to give up the whole team and the future for Juan Soto because he only has one more year left on his contract, AJ. So at the end of this season, he's up for a new contract. So the Yankees are going to have to pay up big time if they want to keep him. But they have him for a season, and then we'll see. But
they better win, man.
I mean, we also got a guy from the Red Sox, Alex Verdugo. Alex Verdugo is going to play outfield for us. Juan Soto and Aaron Judge is going to be the Yankees outfield, which is pretty solid. It's a pretty solid outfield.
He's going to be hated
up.
by the Boston
and we're going to get that Yamamoto guy, that pitcher from Japan. We're going to get Yamamoto. So we're going to be really beefed up. The Yankees are going to be strong. The Yankees are going to get, really strong in the offseason. It's going to be one of those things where the Yankees come back next season and they'll be like, my God, the Yankees bought, players and they're devastating and they're beating everybody. And I'm going to be sitting there yeah, that's right. That's right. I fucking love it. We got Juan Soto. Although I was very confident last offseason when we got Carlos Rodon, which was our big offseason signing. I mean, we also re-signed Aaron Judge, which turned out to be a great move because he's the greatest player ever. He's awesome. Last offseason, you remember Aaron Judge was a free agent, and the Yankees had to give him millions and millions of dollars to keep him in New York, and it was looking like he was going to go to San Francisco, but we kept him, which was fantastic, and he's the captain, and he's going to be a Yankee for life, and that's exactly how I want it. And then we also got Carlos Rodon, who was supposed to beef up the starting rotation. He was hurt for most of the year, and then when he did pitch, he was fucking terrible. So Hopefully Juan Soto is not another Carlos Rodon, because if he is, I'm going to lose it. I'm going to attack someone in the Yankees organization. It may be Juan Soto. If Juan Soto does not deliver for the Yankees, I will put Juan Soto in an omoplata and make sure his fucking shoulder never sees the light of day. Like, I will be so pissed.
So basically his career is over, man.
Yeah.
That's
if
okay,
Juan
man.
Soto does not deliver for the Yankees, I am going to attack him with my hands. Yes, omoplata.
You can always sell,
specifically an
hot dogs
omoplata.
on the corner.
I'm not going to choke him, but I will attack that shoulder. Omoplata, Kimura, whatever I need to do, the shoulder's going down. All right, Juan Soto, you've been warned. I love you for now, but if you don't deliver, if you're hurt for some of the season, I will make sure you are hurt for the rest of your career.
It's kind of like this, man. Don't mess with
joke.
the gangster.
It's not a real threat. I love you, Juan Soto. I'm sorry for saying that to you. I love you. Rodon, though.
Don't fuck up.
Rodon,
just
you
don't
better
fuck up.
Juan Soto, I have no ill will for. He's new to the Yankees, so we welcome him with open arms. Carlos Rodon, if you don't turn your shit around, you motherfucker, I'm going to be very mad. I'm going to be very upset, Carlos Rodon, because you suck last season big time. You better not suck this season again. If you suck again,
ankle lock.
I hope you get released.
That's
I
it?
think you just get kicked out of baseball because you suck, Carlos Rodon. Fucking
I thought you were
hate
gonna give
Carlos
like
Rodon.
something interesting, like a leg lock or like, a foot lock. You got to get like nasty with those ones.
Heel hook.
A heel hook. That's it. It's all over, man.
I got a pretty good heel hook. I had
You
decent.
never stand again, man.
Yeah.
Like you wanted to, or like you used to. It's okay,
Yeah.
Dave. I'm glad you're like a fair fan, man.
Oh yeah, I mean, I want my Yankees to be good, and if they're not good, I want them to feel shame and be sad and maybe suffer a little bit. Yeah, of course.
Spoken like a true Yankee fan, man.
Yeah.
Way to go, man.
We demand excellence. If we don't get it, there's
If you're not first, you're
problems.
last.
Yeah, exactly. Fucking ridiculous. We're not just trying to be competitive every year. We're trying to win the World Series every year. Some franchises, some teams are like, we just want to make sure that we're in a position where we could be competitive every year. Competitive? What do you mean? Like, you want to try and maybe get third place every year? What a fucking loser mentality is that? We're looking to win the World Series every season. And when we don't win the World Series, it's a goddamn failure. I love being a Yankee fan because we demand excellence. I love excellence.
Yeah, you got
Angelo
a point there,
says,
Dave.
yeah, of course. Every other sports team is stupid compared to the Yankees because, like, they all are like, yeah, it's fine to just be okay, and we're happy as long as one day maybe we win. One
Get a
day
medal for being last
maybe
place.
we win. Fucking pathetic. Angelo says, looks like the Jays are on the verge of getting Shohei Ohtani. Yeah, great. Good for them. I mean,
who are they going to get in return?
there's a reason why the Yankees aren't going after Shohei Ohtani. Ask yourself why the Yankees have no interest in Shohei Ohtani and why the Blue Jays are going after him. Ask yourself that. I think Shohei Ohtani as a pitcher is done. And I think the Blue Jays are going to figure that out next season. I think he's halfway hurt and halfway done. I don't think Shohei Ohtani is worth the money. And the Yankees don't think so either. Nobody in Yankee land wants Shohei Ohtani. Nobody. He's one of the best players in baseball, most famous players in baseball. Why are the Blue Jays so hard going after him? Why aren't the Yankees going after him? There's a reason. There's a reason. Johnny North says, last World Series 2009, lots of failure. You're correct, John. It has been a lot of failure. Last World Series victory was in 2009. That is too fucking long.
Crazy.
That's way too long.
Man. Yeah.
It's unacceptable. What is that, 14 years? It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
That's crazy, man.
Could you imagine the Yankees going 14 years without a World Series? It's pathetic. Yeah, it's a lot of failure, and it's unacceptable, and you can't go 15 years without a World Series. You can't. That's not what a major league franchise does. That's not what a big-time franchise does. We don't go 15 years without a world championship. That's not happening. Yankees are winning the World Series in 2024, and that's that. That's it.
The curse is over.
Look,
it's back, baby.
We're not like the Montreal Canadiens, happy going 30 years without a Stanley Cup. We don't do
man.
that in Yankee Land. You know what I mean?
No. We don't do that, man. Where we freaking had to get like UP as the official mascot for the Canadiens.
Ever since the Canadiens got a mascot, they haven't won shit. They haven't won shit. Ever since the Canadiens moved into the Bell Center, they haven't won shit. I mean, the Canadiens haven't won in so long. Bell Center
sucks, man. I think who sang the opening theme? I think it was Celine Dion, man, or something like that.
Hey, don't blame Celine. She's a goddamn treasure.
Celine. What? For what?
I saw Celine at the Bell Center. What a show! Incredible. I've seen a lot of people perform, AJ. I've seen a lot of people do singing and dancing and all sorts of shit. I've been to the Bell Center for a lot of stuff. I've seen a lot of people sing. I've seen a lot of concerts in my life. Celine put on a goddamn show. Man,
you can't compare Celine Dion to like, I don't know, Cyndi Lauper or Madonna. Come on, dude.
Celine is so much better. She's got a real voice.
Like a virgin.
She's got a real voice.
Girls just want to have fun. Come on, man. How can you compare that to, what's her song there, the Titanic song?
My Heart Will Go On.
Oh, yeah, my heart. Yeah, my heart will go on. 10 Leagues Below the Sea.
She killed it, man. She was singing the hits, and her voice was incredible. Come on, AJ. Where's your Quebec culture? Where's your pride? If you haven't seen Celine Dion at the Bell Center, you're not really from Montreal, my friend. That's something you got to see. Listen, and she sells out like a week in a row. She's selling that arena out 7 days straight. She could play the Bell Center anytime she wants, and it will be a sellout immediately. She has to play so many shows at the Bell Center when she comes to town. When she's touring, like she does, once in Atlanta, one in LA, maybe 2 in LA, whatever. But she comes to Montreal, it's like 4, 5, 6, 7 dates in a row and then she comes back again later because, I mean, people love it. People go bananas. She sells out. Packed to the rafters for Celine. And she kills it, man. The performance was incredible. I know you're looking at me like, David, I'm telling you. It was very good. I'm
a Jerry Boulay guy, man.
It was very good. Celine was magnificent.
Rush voisin, merci.
I've seen them all, okay? I saw Paul McCartney.
Oh, Paul McCartney, now we're talking. Hey,
I've seen, all the cool people. But Celine was a cut above. Truly.
Well, your heart goes
amazing.
On, Dave.
She's good, man. What can I say? She's got a hell of a voice. She knows how to sing. Why do you think she's so famous? She's good at singing.
Yeah, I guess.
Celine Dion and Georges St. Pierre, 2 greatest champions to ever grace the Bell Center stage. 2 greatest. Oh, man.
Bobby Pin.
I don't know why you don't. You got to show more respect to Celine, man. She's the queen.
I just said, yeah, but like I'm more of like I told you, man.
She's the queen of Quebec.
No.
She's our Beyonce.
What? She got no booty like Beyonce.
No, but she's like iconic. She's iconic to Quebec, like Beyonce is iconic to America.
Listen, man, I had to spend a few days with Celine Dion. I can't say it now because
you're a lucky man.
I don't want to get any lawyers like after me.
Yeah, don't say anything negative about our Celine.
I'll just not no booty like Beyonce. Is it Beyonce or the other one? Which one?
Shut up. You
Shakira.
Don't know who anybody is. Okay, that's it. Show's over. Before AJ says some dumb shit that gets us all in trouble. I'll be back tomorrow night with Johnny North where we will talk about AEW. We were at AEW Collision and AEW Dynamite. We were both at the shows. I saw Johnny briefly last night, but then he ignored me for the rest of the show. Johnny was sitting. Johnny, like, it was really...
He dissed you?
I
can't believe it, man.
Johnny dissed me.
Well, Johnny's a big superstar. It's normal, man.
Like, I saw Johnny was sitting, like, the next section over, right near me, like 4 or 5 rows ahead of me, just right there. I could see him the whole show. He comes up at one point. He's climbing up the stairs. I go, hey, Johnny, what's going on, man? And he's like, oh, I got to go get my friend. He says hi to me. He says hi to my son. And then he's like, I got to go get my friend. He's got to get some wrestler friend of his, right? And then he comes back down to his seat. And he comes back down to his seat with his wrestler friend. I see him. He doesn't even say hi to me as he's coming back down. And he didn't say
Johnny's
shit to me
big,
the rest
man.
of the
He's
night. He didn't talk to me the rest of the night. I saw him one time. He's like, oh, hi. And then he leaves, and then he comes back with his friend, ignores me like he's embarrassed to know me or something. It was fucking weird. I was like, John, I thought we were friends. He doesn't see me. He doesn't talk to me. Nothing. At no point during the show does he turn around. He could have just turned around and gone, hey, how about that, Dave? Nothing. No turnaround. No look behind. No nothing.
Was he wearing this?
No.
Was he wearing this at
No.
least?
No.
Not even?
No.
What the heck,
Johnny ignored me at AEW, and we're going to hash it out tomorrow on Wrestling Uncensored live. He ignored me at the AEW show.
He must have done something to Johnny.
Oh, Johnny went to see me after the Danielson match, but yeah, I was gone. Yeah, well, my son, here's the thing. My son is 6, and it was a school day for him yesterday, and it's a school day for him today. And it was about, like, this is kind of a sad story for me because I missed the Bryan Danielson match. I saw Bryan Danielson wrestle on Tuesday, which was great. But by the time Dynamite was over, my son was done. Like, he was so tired. He's up at like 6:30 in the morning for school. Then he's at school all day, and then he's going to Dynamite. And like, he was tired by the end. Like, he couldn't stay for Rampage, so we left. And then I get home, and it's like we didn't stay for all of Rampage. Then I get home, and it's like, oh, Bryan Danielson main evented Rampage. I was like, what? I saw him wrestle on Collision. I didn't think he'd wrestle on Rampage too, but he did. So I missed a Bryan Danielson match, which is kind of sad for me. But you know what? I wasn't that sad because my son could not have handled staying up that late. Like, he was done. He was like, I want to go home. I'm tired. I'm done. And I, being a good father before being a good wrestling fan, said, okay, you're done. You're tired. I'm done too. Let's go. You know? So I don't feel bad because I left with my son who was tired and done, you know? He did a Montreal retirement speech? God damn, John, I missed something. Well, that's too bad. Johnny will tell me about it. What can I say? That sucks. But, you know, I'm a father before everything else. So it is what it is.
Way to go, Johnny.
Didn't
when
come
you're
see
big,
me.
they call you Johnny.
Yeah.
I like, you know what? I saw like the ad that you guys have for your next show with Johnny coming out with the AEW, like that. Whoever did that design, now that's something that you should put on a T-shirt. Johnny looks massive, man. Damn, he looks scary, massive.
Merch.ringsidereport.net for all of our stuff. Go check out our merch.
Johnny merch.
See some Johnny North merch T-shirts over at merch.ringsidereport.net, and I will be back here tomorrow night with Johnny North at 10 p.m. Eastern Time right after SmackDown to recap all the action. And don't forget, next week is UFC 296, and we'll be doing the live watch-along for UFC 296 next Saturday, December the 16th.
I'm going to go loco on that night, man.
Yes.
Oh, hey, listen,
night before, there's no wrestling show because you and I and Freddie, we're going to Montreal Quintet Jiu-Jitsu show, which is going to be sick.
And your buddy as well, man.
Yeah, Big Al's coming too. Yeah,
Big Al is going to be with us, man.
Yeah,
it's going to be nuts, man. That night is going to be sick. I swear to God, I'm going to go wild.
I can't wait.
I might actually go into the ring. I mean, I'm up for a challenge with anybody right now.
And your buddy Franco Pana is going to be hosting the whole show.
Listen,
do you know
Franco
that?
Is the.
Did you know that?
Man, I didn't know that he was.
He's hosting. He's going to be the MC for the show, and apparently he's a big person. I don't know the guy, but I know you've talked to me about him.
Franco, yeah.
I mean, I don't know him personally. I've heard of him. Like, he's a good jiu-jitsu guy, you know, but I don't know him. I never trained with him. I'm trying to think
where Franco's from. He's from either Togo. I think he's from Togo or Congo. It's Togo. But let me tell you something about Franco Pana. Franco Pana is a beast, man. In the early days, years back, he was like the number one, like, most dangerous grappler. He was boxing professionally. Wanted to get into MMA. He was pretty much like the Nagano that we see today.
Big guy,
yeah. Massive guy, super strong, super nice guy, man. You know, very bright guy. He works in finance. The guy has it all, man. He came as an immigrant to Canada, to Quebec here, and the guy has like really like, you know, excelled. And the thing is, his like fighting skills are like off the charts. You don't want to get this guy mad, man. But let me tell you, he's one of the nicest guys you can meet. And I didn't know he was hosting, so I'll be seeing Franco. I've grappled with Franco many times, and let me tell you, man. You know, you know, If he wants to put an end to something, he's going to put an end to it whenever, however, he feels like. And he does it, man. The guy he's unbelievable.
Mm-hmm.
Just remember, he has the most Italian name out there. But when you see Franco Pana, doesn't look like he's from Sicily.
So he's going to be hosting that show, and it's going to be a big jiu-jitsu event that we're going to next Friday, and we're excited about that. And we got a lot. We'll talk about that a little bit more next Thursday night here, where we think Fred will be back. Fred dealing with some personal stuff, and we're wishing Fred and Fred's family all the best.
Our love, Freddie.
Much love to Fred and the whole family there.
The whole family, man.
Yeah,
it's tough, you know.
Yeah.
Just quickly, his father-in-law passed away. A super nice man. You know, me and Dave had many times to meet him.
Yeah.
You know, super nice guy, and unfortunately, he was going through a rough time in his life, and we are where we're at, and he passed away, and lots of love to the family, man. They've always been great to us.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of love to Genevieve and to Fred and the whole family.
It's tough, man.
Really sad, and we've known, everything, Fred's one of my best friends, so I've known everything that's been going on with Fred, and he's dealing with his family right now, and, Fred's going to take all the time he needs. You deal with a loss like that in a family, it's very difficult to deal with, and
it's tough.
Yeah, it's... so some sadness, in the backstage kind of, we're real people and we got real lives, and there's always something going on. So, yes, wishing Fred and the family all the best.
And as well to Muscles Marco, his dad who passed away too, last week. So, I attended that, Ringside gave their condolences, and, to Muscles, who's I'm pretty sure listening, love to you too, dude.
Yeah.
It's a tough one, man.
Yeah, it's been a rough a few weeks.
Couple of weeks.
Yeah, 2023 has been a little bit difficult. 2024 will be better for all of us. We'll be having a great 2024, and everything.
I hope so, man. Send the energy, dude.
And look good. Yep, 2024 is going to be good, AJ. Everything's going to be.
I'm going to go local like there's no
tomorrow,
me tell man. AJ is going to level 2, man. I'm going to level 2.
I'm frightened by what that means, but.
That means, I don't care, man. Whatever it is. Even if cocaine's involved, man, we're going to Vegas. It's going to be wild.
Okay. Well, I don't think I'm going to get permission for any of that, AJ, but I'm with you in spirit, okay? I'll hear the stories when you come back. Okay, it's the Ringside Report Network. I'll be back here tomorrow night with Johnny North. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. Shout out Angelo and Leor and all the members over at join.ringsidereport.net. You are the lifeblood. You keep us going here on the Ringside Report Network.